It's time to change the guitar strings on my guitar with locking tuners. In this video, I will go over my technique to change strings on my guitar that has locking tuners. This is what the locking tuners look like here, and you can see that they are able to be turned like this. And what happens is there is a latch up there, so now the latch is coming out because I just unscrewed one of them, but when I screw it back in, the latch engages and it holds the string in place so it can't slip and move, which greatly helps you when you're changing your strings. Things that are great about locking tuners, and the reason why I'm excited about locking tuners, are because they make changing your strings a lot easier. No longer do you have to have your pliers or anything out and wrapping your strings around the post. You just simply put the strings in, lock them up, and do a little turn and clip them up, and you're ready to roll. I don't know about you, but I have many nightmares changing my lower E string and not getting it right and wasting a perfectly new string, which this will totally prevent me from doing in the future. Also, it's important to remember not to wrap your strings around the post when changing your strings with locking tuners. It's not necessary. These are the new strings that I'll be using. They're the strings that came with the guitar. They're Fender Super 250s. Alright, so let's get started. Start out by loosening the strings on the guitar. Take a mental note how these two strings are configured here. I guess you'd maybe call that a bridge. I actually don't know what you'd call that, but you want to repeat that when you're putting the strings back on. Now that the strings are loosened, unscrew the tuning locks on the back of the guitar. Now the strings can be easily removed. Next, flip the guitar over and take the strings out of the back here. And we're just going to push them through from the front. One thing to note here is now that your strings are off the guitar, I always take a second to remove any dust that may have accumulated up here on the neck and down here on the body. So I'm going to take a second to do that. And obviously make sure to use the softest fabric you have available to you. And I'll quickly wipe everything dry. Now that the strings are removed and the guitar is all cleaned up, the next thing I do is move these pins here to the 12 o'clock so the open hole is pointing up here. The reason why I do that is because once the strings come in easily and they're all lined up and you lock them up, all you have to do is clip them and turn them slightly, and you will not wrap the string around. So that's the rationale, and we're good to go. So now we'll proceed to open up the package of strings, and we'll start with the low E string. Which is right here. And now I'll go ahead and string that through the back. And the low E is here, obviously. The next thing is to thread the string through the rod, like this, and pull it so it's pretty taut like this, and then reach below and tighten the lock, and that's bringing the shaft up and clamping down on the string now. And now that's in place, I can get my wire clippers, clip my string right here, which is a beautiful thing, nice and clean. And now I can simply tune this thing up. And again, remember not to wrap the string around the rod. And I'm going to clip the string just a little bit more to make it nice and clean. One thing I will mention as I continue to tune up here is you continuously want to bend your strings as you're tuning up and stretch them. And that will prevent the guitar from going out of tune in the future, and really set the strings up for good stability moving forward. And if you have a tremolo as well, you want to work that through the process as well. And just give these strings a really good workout as you're tuning them out. Especially if you're going to be playing out soon professionally and you get out on the road and you haven't done this, you'll go out of tune very quick. Alright, so now all of my guitar strings are on, and I've continued to stretch them around and hit my tremolo and get them in pretty darn good shape. And now it's time to bust out my good old friend Mr. Snark and give her a tune and see how we come out here. One thing you will want to note is that temperature will affect the tuning of your guitar, so you know, over the next few days, if you can, continue to stretch your strings and make sure to work these strings out well. So now that your guitar is tuned up, remember to keep stretching the strings for a few days moving forward, and make sure those locks are tightened sufficiently to keep those tunes in string. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below.